the GMAP Broadcast Network. I am Pastor Kevin. I am excited. Man, I tell you what, I've been excited all day long. I mean, it's something about wanting to reach out and connect with people, to encourage them, to motivate them, to get them to, I love this part, switch lanes. There's a lot of people out there today that simply needs to consider switching lanes. You know, you seem to be going down a dead end street, or you're traveling down an avenue that doesn't seem to be going anywhere. You know, the time is now to consider. And you know what? We have to wake up with the attitude that we want to hang around people with faith. We want to be encouraged by faith-based individuals. We want to be inspired and motivated. Isn't it time out to just simply get around people who's always negative, who never has anything positive to say, who's simply getting up each day trying to figure out how they can bring you down? No, it's time out. We need to pick up the phone. We need to text somebody, chat with somebody, tweet somebody, instant message somebody, and encourage somebody, motivate somebody, inspire somebody. Welcome to the GMAP Broadcast Network. Yours truly, Pastor Kevin, and I'm back. Yeah, I've been here all morning long praising and lifting up the name of Jesus. And of course, as promised, I told you that I was going to have my friend back in the studio with me today. Last time he was here, we had some recording technical difficulties, but today he's back. And we are excited to have him back in the studio with us today. I'm excited about what he and we have going on. So let's do this. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it right with no further ado. You know what? I'm going to really try to play this thing to the hilt right now. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, I need you to do me a favor this morning, or this afternoon now, because we've been here all morning, but I need you to do me a favor. I want you to give him a nice, warm welcome this time, because he deserves it. He's doing some great things in our community. He's reaching out to some folk. I tell you what, he is giving people some great information, encouraging them, motivating them, and inspiring them to switch lanes. And that is to do good, to do well, to be acceptable. And, you know, today is no different. We're going to go ahead. Let me see if I can find, you know what, there's a little something I want to do this time that I probably didn't do last time. So let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can do it right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. I'm having fun now. I see you. Let's put our hands together and welcome the president of Switch Lanes, my friend, Mr. Anthony McIntyre. He's looking at me like, what is wrong with this guy today? How you doing, man?
I'm good, because
man, I tell you what, you got to be careful around here, man. I enjoy having a wonderful time. And of course, today is no different, man. We thank God for you, man. We thank God that you have taken time out to come back and hang out with us today. Why don't we do this? I know some people may have had the opportunity to know who you were the last time we were here, but today we probably have an entirely different group of people checking us out. Okay, so why don't you do this? Why don't you just take a few minutes out, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where you're from, and then we're going to dive right into quote unquote switch lanes. Okay, introduce yourself to our people today, man.
Well, I got to make sure I'm in this microphone this
time. Yeah, because they got me last time.
Wow. Well, you already gave my name.
Amen.
I'm going to have to repeat it now.
Go ahead.
Anthony McIntyre, by way of small town in Georgia, Midway, Georgia.
Okay.
Got up here to Illinois through the avenue of the U.S. Navy. Served my country very well.
Right.
You know, just happened to be going through boot camp right there at Great Lakes. Met some people in the community.
Right.
Got out of the service, came back, you know. After a brief stint in the streets, I took what I like to call a self-induced vacation.
Okay.
You know what? It wasn't self-induced.
Right,
it was
right,
forced
right.
onto me.
Right,
You know,
right,
but I took a vacation for 19 years where I was ward of the Department of Corrections. Got home July 8th of 2013.
Okay.
I'm working on 4 years now being home.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
and since I've been home, I've just been trying to just be as best a person as I can be within the community, helping as many people as I possibly can.
Right.
Most importantly, ensuring that I do for my daughter, you know,
Amen.
As best I can. But it just so happens that I don't just have one of them no more. You know, I got a few of them.
Amen.
You know, my god kids are just like my kids.
Right.
You know, so I try to do as best I can to be a great example for them.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the gist of it for me when it comes to how I got here.
Right. Okay.
Now that I'm here,
yeah,
I guess it's time to switch lanes.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know, speaking of switch lanes, of course, many people may not be aware of exactly what that is. Me and you had an opportunity, Anthony, to talk about the stereotype, the what other people see as you welcome switch lanes to this community. And it's not just in this community, but I can only imagine in the other communities where it may be located, how they're receiving or perceiving it. So today I want to focus on, first and foremost, I want to reintroduce switch lanes to this community and our viewers, our listeners and viewers. What is it? What is it? Switch lanes. What is it? Let's start there.
Well, Switch Lanes is a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Okay.
We don't seek to make a lot of money or anything. It's a community-based organization that I like to word it this way. We focus on the disenfranchised, you know, those individuals who don't seem to have a spokesman, a voice. Okay. You know, those people who seem to be invisible to the masses. Those people may be involved in the streets not by choice, but by circumstance. And as a result, you know, a lot of people discriminate against them, you know, and it's a different type of discrimination. You know, you're talking about people who, you know, certain activities that they may feel forced to be involved in. Those activities may, if they keep up with it, it's going to lead them to where I just came from. Right. Or worse. Right. Now, we at Switch Lanes, we don't believe that if given an opportunity, that most people with some sense would choose to be involved in certain activities. They would rather work. Right. You know, I think it's more so in our nature to do that type of a thing as opposed to the other. Right. So, you know, we have 4 pillars at Switch Lanes. Okay. Education. Okay. Economic development, entrepreneurship, and legal justice. Okay. Those 4 things we believe are 4 of the main contributors to what ails us in our community, or what will fix what ails us in our community. Okay. The average person, if given an opportunity to work a job, they're going to work a job. If they can make enough money to whereas they can provide for their families, they're gonna work a job. Right. Most jobs today, they have a requirement for certain expertise that requires certain education. So therefore, education is connected to anything that you're going to do. Right. Right. From an entrepreneurial standpoint, we recognize that a lot of people, because of background, because of circumstance, they're not going to be able to just go and work for anybody. Right. So we want to show people how to go about acquiring the skills necessary to start your own business. Because sometimes you got to go around that system.
That entrepreneurship that you were talking
Absolutely.
About. That's true.
And from a legal justice standpoint, I mean,
look at reality. In order to do anything, you got to have some sort of legality. Some sort of legalities are involved.
Well, the legal justice pillar is more so the judicial system. It's more so the Department of Corrections. You know, it's more so that type of a thing because, you know, the recidivism rate is as high as it is because people don't have opportunities when they come home from prison. So therefore, recidivism being that cycle of people going back and forth to prison. You know, so a person goes to prison, did whatever they did, allegedly or otherwise. They come home from prison. They think they've done their time. An opportunity is going to be there for them to learn from the mistake and come home and do what they need to do. Right. They get out here and realize that they're still doing time because they're still being penalized for something that was done long ago. So they can't get a job. Right. Because they can't get a job, they're forced in their mind, because self-preservation is the first law of nature. You're going to do what you have to do to take care of yourself.
They're forced in their mind.
In their mind.
I love that.
Yes.
I'm making sure I stay on track because I'm going somewhere with that, but they're forced in their mind
to
basically
survive. You know, and the thing about the whole self-preservation thing, some people on the sidelines, they'll look at it and say, well, you didn't have to do that. Well, I liken it to, you have one person standing there, he's been stabbed. You have another person standing there, he got hit in the eye. You have another person standing there, he just had both his legs broken. Right? Now, the person who got hit in the eye, the guy who got stabbed is looking at him like, man, if you don't stop complaining about getting hit in the eye, I'm sitting over here with a knife in me. And then the person with the broken legs is saying to the person with the stab wound, like, come on, man, you got the knife in you, I'm losing both my legs right now. But the pain of the person with the black eye to him is no different than the pain to the person with the stab wound. So you can't really put your expectations or your standards onto the next person. It matters what I feel. And what I feel is my eye is black and it hurt.
And you know, everybody deals with situations differently.
Yes.
You know, I can get hit in the eye. You can get hit in the eye.
Might not mean anything to me.
And it means everything to me.
Absolutely.
You know, so that, and then I want to, maybe rewind the tape a little bit. I want to go back to that thing where you mentioned the mindset.
Yes.
Because when I think about switch lanes, you were talking to me at some point and you said one of the main things, I think I was in your office. You said one of the main things that you would like to, I guess you can say, provide is a renewed mindset of the individuals that get involved with switch lanes. Allow them to, instead of looking at degrading or devaluing women in their mind being cool, give them a different mindset and allow them to understand that respecting women is cool. Dressing up versus wearing your pants halfway down your body, down your, behind, and so on and so forth, is instead of looking at that as being cool, dressing up, looking nice, and going out to try to get you a decent job or deal with respectable people is cool. I recognize that you had mentioned in the past that you wanted to give them a renewed mindset. And that's what made me want to reverse or rewind the tape when you were talking about the renewing of the mind, because that's important to me. And to me, in order to really involve yourself with the things that Switch Lanes has to offer, you have to be open-minded and you have to be willing to at least consider approaching the things you approach with a renewed mindset. Is that right?
That's true. You know, I sort of, it's not cool. If something isn't cool, then youngsters don't want to do it.
It's unacceptable.
They don't want to do it. They don't want to participate with it. Right. So what I try to do is to be the best example I can be in certain areas. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Right.
But in certain areas, for example, where women are concerned, I was raised by a woman. I think most people were born to a woman, I think. So I was raised by a woman and I love my mother. I respect my mother. There's a bunch of women around me. So I look at women differently. I respect them. You know, I don't degrade them. Right. So people around me, you can't use certain language when you're referring to women. Now, to me, that's me being an example, at least within that area. I make it cool to respect women. I do it. You can do it. Education, you know, to me is connected to almost anything that you want to do of any worth in this country. So therefore, I make sure that I'm always preaching about education. I'm a studier of history, So to be a studier of history means that you must have an educational academic portion to the equation.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to make it cool to be educated. So I'll slide up on somebody real quick and I'll ask them certain things about certain people. I don't mean to make them feel little. I'm not going to make them feel little.
Right.
But I know that when I ask them something that I know they know the answer to,
Mm-hmm.
they feel good being able to answer the question.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to make education cool. I want people to understand that to go and work an 8-hour job is cool.
Mm-hmm.
So the more we get more and more individuals to make these things cool and normal, more people will feel inclined to do it.
Right.
And they'll be less inclined to do some of the other things.
Right.
So I think it is a mindset. It's that whole philosophy of, the cup is half full versus half empty. Same amount of water in there.
Right.
But how do you look at it?
Right.
So that definitely is one of the pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah. I know we have to look at things differently, Anthony. And, I was listening to a pastor the other day, and the way he approached the scenario was real unique.
Mm-hmm.
He said, do you realize, just like you said about the cup half empty, half full, he said, do you realize it's a blessing to come to this particular location and worship with you?
Mm.
But I want you to know that from Kenosha to Waukegan, it's the same distance from Waukegan to Kenosha.
It is.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So let's not look at this one-sided as it was an honor having you come. Now it's your turn.
Right.
Come and worship with us. I thought that analogy was so unique because out of all honesty, I'm in my 50s, man. I never looked at it that way.
Right.
It's the same distance to get from there to here as it would be to get from here to there.
This is true.
Same rules apply. And what do you say? I'm going to throw this at you. What do you say when you talk about switch lanes and somebody say, well, Anthony, I really like what you're doing, but I'm getting the impression that you're just really trying to pull together and gather up and cater to ex-felons or gangbangers or drug sellers or things like that. What do you say in response to when people come at you at that magnitude?
Well, I'm not offended by individuals telling me that I choose to speak up for the disenfranchised.
Yeah.
Whoever those people are.
Right.
If today they just happen to be young girls who teenage pregnancy is, causing a lot of problems. If tomorrow it happens to be individuals who are, they have the burden of being addicted to drugs or something. I mean, it doesn't matter to me who they are. You all choose to push these people to the sides. I don't. Switch lanes doesn't. We recognize that those people are human just like everybody else. Come election time, I bet the politicians don't ignore them.
That's right. That's
what I mean? So my thing is, I'm not going to ignore those people. So if it happens to be that you have individuals who are involved in street organizations, who society calls gangs, they're still human beings. I don't advocate on behalf of those guys and girls. Right. That's not my job.
That's right.
But I see them as not gang members. I see them as individuals. They're people.
That's right.
Right? So since I look at them as people, you can put the label on them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Right.
That's no different to me than if, my son, my brother, or whoever was shot by the cops. And now all of a sudden, every time I see somebody with a uniform on, I label him the same as that individual over there.
Right.
See, it's no different to me. I think that the standard should be the same across the board.
Right.
I'm not anti-cop, but I dare to say I am anti-garbage.
Well, it was the action, not the person.
And that's the thing.
Have to pay attention to.
People tend to focus more on messenger than message.
Yeah. Exactly.
And to me, the guys and the girls who are involved in these street organizations, they're there for a reason.
Right.
They're there for a reason. The individuals who are out here on these blocks, they're there for a reason. I don't promote, advocate, support illegal activity.
Right. Right.
We need to be clear on that.
Right.
The individuals who are doing those things, I choose to look at certain stuff as the symptom. I want to dig into the cause of the symptom. So if an individual is out here doing things that he probably shouldn't or she shouldn't be doing, I want to know why.
Yeah, yeah.
So if the why is, they've been abused as a child, if the why is their father is in prison and they didn't have that male touch on their lives, so they're really lost. Yeah. If the why is they got strung out on drugs or they were molested as a kid, you know what I mean? These things are contributing factors to what it is that they are today.
Let me stop you right there. I love that you said that because that's what the courts use. The courts will dig into your past to find out where to place you in a correctional environment. Yeah. They will say that the reason you're this way because this happened to you in the past. And when I think about what you're saying, man, I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed because people will judge you immediately by not even knowing who you are. You know, don't act as if you know God. I'm just using this as an analogy. If you don't take time out to read the pages of his life. Don't act as if I know Anthony if I don't take time out to read the pages of his life. Which means when I get to know you, it's going to take some time. Don't go out there and get married after 2 months if you don't know what this person has been through. Without trying to come up to a happy medium. And when you said that about, see, the thing I'm loving about what Switch Lanes really stands for is, number one, you said you are not looking at the person, but the action. You're not taking them and judging them based on who they are versus what they're doing. And they need somebody to step up and openly speak out for them too. See, a lot of times we want to act as if, or we want to claim that we're willing to help someone, but you let that someone come and ask you for help. And most of the time we'll turn our back on them. I'm going to tell you something, man, just a quick testimony. I was hurting. As a pastor, most people don't want to see me in a hurting position. They want to be able to come to me for encouragement, for motivation and inspiration. But I was hurting at some point, and it caused me to go out and ask a few people for assistance. Now, instead of recognizing my pain, they took my action and they ran with it to devalue me, talked about me like a dog. Oh, they said, oh, he's out there on drugs. He's doing this. He's hanging out over here. Everything wrong, not having any idea how close I was to just simply wanting to give up and even take my own life. Imagine that. Instead of trying to reach out like you're doing to be a helping hand to someone, you're not looking at them, judging them because of what you might have heard or what some people may have said or so on and so forth. You're trying to reach out, give them a voice, and give them an opportunity to switch lanes and do something positive with their life. Make them valuable in their own backyard, in their community, to ultimately be willing to help somebody else. Man, I love that concept. And most people will approach you and say, well, I like the concept too, but what can I do? I mean, if I want to switch lanes, what's the protocol? Is there a payment plan? Do I have to pay to get this type of services, to get this knowledge, to find out what the resources that you may have available? How does that work?
Well, we don't charge anybody.
Okay.
You know, that's not what it is. We do what we do because it's necessary for it to be done.
Right.
It's a community effort. So no one has to pay us to reap the benefit of what it is that Switch Lanes does.
All right.
We definitely are a nonprofit organization, so therefore we live off of contributions and donations.
All right. Say that again.
We definitely are a nonprofit organization. We live off of donations and contributions.
Okay. People need to understand that.
They do. And you know, I'll be honest, I'm guilty of something. I'm guilty of, I feel funny asking people for anything. Okay. I've been independent for a very long time.
Right.
And I have to keep in mind that this isn't Anthony talking. You know, I represent Switch Lanes.
Okay.
So I have to put myself second and my own pride and whatnot second. Yeah. And I have to say and do what's necessary to be said and done for the organization. Right. Because we are needed in the community. So I don't have a problem. Well, that's not 100%. I'm uncomfortable with it, but I still have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I go out now and I am going to be asking for donations and contributions, and I won't concern myself with people thinking that I'm begging because it's not for me.
Right.
I have not gotten $1. I have not earned $1 through everything I've been doing with Switch Lanes.
Right.
Not $1.
Right.
I've given quite a bit.
Right.
It's what I do. I don't regret it. Nor do I wear it on my sleeve. I'm not looking to be patted on the back.
Right.
I really just simply want to be an example. And that's all I do.
Okay. So
when individuals want to help with Switch Lanes, it's not even just to put money to the side, because some people feel like because they can't give, $500 or $1,000 that they can't do anything because they're worried about what people think.
Yeah.
Listen, $5, $10, it adds up.
It adds up. Absolutely.
So we are accepting of anything. And even when it's not monetary, even if it's in the form of things like we have a classroom over at Switch Lane. And in that classroom, we're going to have computers. We have some and we need more.
Well, you can even go as deep as their time.
I was getting there.
Okay.
It's more of a step-by-step thing. It's like I'm trying to go from the things that people value the most, which seems to be money. And then next is stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the stuff might be a computer here. It might be, a camera here. It might be the next thing, time.
Yeah.
Volunteers are useful to us. We need people in there.
Right.
Switch Lanes in our classrooms, we're going to have tutoring class to help people with their GEDs.
Okay.
We're going to have computer learning classes, which I'll be on the front row.
Right.
I'm computer illiterate.
Okay.
We're going to have financial literacy classes.
Okay.
I come across individuals today, and I don't say this to mock anybody, but it's cats that don't even know how to write a check.
Right. Right.
They don't know how to.
The truth is the truth, and that's true.
It's real.
We're
going to have anger management classes.
Right.
Again, as you listen to these things, understand these are the things that contribute to the shenanigans in the streets on some level.
Right.
A person without a GED, it's difficult for him to get a job. Without the job, it'll lead to certain activity. Everything is technology these days. So therefore, if you aren't technically savvy, it's going to be difficult for you to work these computers and whatnot. Right. So you need that, and that'll cause people to say, well, I'm not going to go over there and try and get this job because I don't know how to work the computer.
Right.
Anger management. One of the biggest things that Switch Lanes does is conflict resolution.
Okay. I love that. I love that word. Conflict resolution.
Yes.
Okay. Break that down for me for those that are out there listening.
Well, conflict resolution. Well, two words, conflict, and then the other word, resolution to the conflict.
Right.
So we try to resolve differences between people on a minor level. Two siblings getting into it over the TV, who can turn the TV on and who can change the channel, all the way up to people with gunplay.
Right.
And we want to be able to get in the middle of it and make both sides understand why it's necessary to resolve their differences before it escalates to, I put my hands on one woman in my life. It was my sister.
Okay.
We had a rule in our house that said whoever came into the house first from school, they control the TV.
Okay.
So we would run to get to the TV. And I got to the TV first. She could not run me. I got to the TV first, and I turned the TV on, and I went to my room, started doing whatever, because I knew an hour later I'd come in and want to watch my show. She changed the channel. Didn't want to turn. And my sister Allison. I call her my little big sister.
Yeah.
My sister had this thing. I don't know, man. She would use words that had 20, 30 letters in it, man. I didn't know what she was calling me or what she was saying to me. And it made me so mad, because she said something to me and I had no clue as to what she just said. But it seemed like she just said the foulest thing to me.
Yeah.
And I hit her.
Okay.
And oh my goodness. She went back there and told my mother, and
oh my goodness.
I'm from Georgia, so my mother was quick to pick up a belt or switch or something, whatever was there.
Whatever was available.
And she took care of her business, and I'm sore.
Yeah.
And she said to me, you if you became more educated, you would understand what she was saying to you, and then you could fight fire with fire.
Right. Wow.
So it was that taught me the lesson of education being so important and the power of words, because my sister would beat me up. Now today, me and my sister, we spar all the time.
Right.
Whenever we get into it, she is my cerebral sparring partner.
Right.
And you know,
that's some amazing stuff, because
Yeah.
you know what, we hear about that in the church every week, you know,
Mhm.
and life and death is in the power of the tongue. You know, people don't understand that, but if you had the knowledge to understand what somebody was saying to you
Right.
about you, then you would have the knowledge to respond.
Right.
How are you going to claim to be a Christian and go out there and let somebody bang you up, a non-Christian
Mhm.
bang you up because you don't know?
Right.
You know, and I'm gonna, I tell you, we can get deep with this, but I'm here to tell you that I am in a conversation right now with my friend, president of Switch Lanes, the Switch Lanes organization, nonprofit organization located on Washington Street in Waukegan, my friend Anthony McIntyre. And of course, I am honored to let you all know that I'm diving in with both feet. You know, sometimes when you get ready to do something, Anthony, let's say you're getting ready to go swimming. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting ready to go swimming.
Right.
You know you can swim, but you don't know if the water is cold. You don't know if the water is warm. So 9 times out of 10, before we really indulge in swimming,
Stick your toe in.
we got to run up to the end and stick our toe in.
Right.
But really and truly, that doesn't do anything for us. So what we'll do, and what I choose to do, is I just draw back. I look at the pool and say it's time.
Mm-hmm.
And with a full head of steam, ain't no turning back once you up in the air.
Mm.
See, so once you're up in the air and you realize when you reach your destination, you have landed in that pool.
Right.
Ain't no turning back.
Right.
That's the way I feel about the way I'm getting involved with Switch Lanes.
Beautiful.
I just stepped back and I just ran full steam ahead.
That's right.
And I jumped. And now there's no turning back, because when I land, I'm right in the middle of what's going on. Now, what I do want to ask you about, what about those individuals that has things to offer?
Mm-hmm.
Let me explain. You got people with a lot of great talent around here. They're artists, they're singers, they're musicians, they're rappers, they're good counselors, you know, so on and so forth. They're good teachers, and they're just not doing much, or they want to get involved with more and finding out how they could be more helpful to people in the community. Are you open to receiving what it is that they do to incorporate it into Switch Lanes?
You know, I have a rule, a motto, if you will, that says that communication is the best medication to chaos.
Okay.
Right? It's chaotic out here. I think that for the individual who isn't receptive to at least listening to what someone has to say and or offer, I don't expect good things for you.
Okay.
So I'm going to sit down and listen to what anybody has to say to see if they can contribute to what it is that we're doing.
Amen. Amen.
We're not a silver bullet at Switch Lanes.
Right.
You know, for those who know me, they know I have this saying, it takes all kind of ingredients to make gumbo taste like it do. So the problems in the street are just as vast as the ingredients that make gumbo taste good.
Right. Right. Okay.
So with that being said, what I can't do, what Switch Lanes can't do, we'll partner with someone else who can.
Who can.
I don't have jobs to give to people.
Right.
I don't have that.
Right.
But I know some people that do.
Right.
I'm not able to help someone get a college degree. We don't have professors at Switch Lanes to do that.
Right.
But I know some community colleges and other Switch Lanes branches around the country. They know locally the different school systems that they can tap into to allow those people to get a further their education.
Right.
I'm not a counselor. I'm not legally a counselor. I think we're all counseling to some degree.
Yeah.
But I'm not legally a counselor, so therefore I know people who do that.
So you're looking at being able to provide the resources. If it's something that, of course, Switch Lanes does not offer specifically, that they're certified to offer, or that they specifically offer to the individuals that want to be involved, that chooses to be involved, you're going to also reach out and have people, volunteers,
absolutely,
who's reaching out to different resources to pull what it is that they may need into the fold to help to assist them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow. For example, here at this is the national headquarters for Switch Lanes here in Waukegan. And here we have an education curriculum been put together, and we're tweaking it right now.
Okay.
One of the people involved with that is on the school board here in Waukegan, Miss Anita Hanna.
Anita, okay.
Miss Hanna is, she is a wonderful woman.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone around this way who's familiar with her, they know how dedicated she is to the area of education.
Yeah.
And she's working deeply involved, with what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So across the country, the curriculum that we set up for the different branches, because Switch Lanes is not just here, it's all over the country.
Yeah.
Those people will feel her touch.
Okay.
By osmosis, if you will.
Right.
They'll feel her touch because of that education curriculum that she's helping us put together. There are other nonprofit organizations or other entities around the area that we will partner with.
Okay.
For example, Waukegan Township,
mm-hmm.
Coalition to Reduce Recidivism,
mm-hmm.
Focus,
mm-hmm.
Women,
GMAP,
GMAP,
Right.
Women Enough, the NAACP,
Right.
There's just a host of organizations around here, CLC.
Yeah.
There are a host of organizations around here. Let me, I almost punched myself in the mouth just now. The number one organization
mm-hmm.
that I'm connected to
mm-hmm.
is Christian Faith Fellowship Church of Waukegan.
Amen.
Under my Pastor Willie Moulton.
Willie and Kathy Moulton.
Yes. And I give a lot of respect and love to my pastors, both of them.
Absolutely. Because
those two people, they show and prove. And to me, I'm telling you, I'm not one of those people that you can just come and put a title in front of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm such and such. I'm
mm-hmm.
Bishop such and such,
mm-hmm.
or I'm President such and such.
Mm-hmm.
I could care less if I don't see you walk the walk.
Right.
It won't mean anything to me. I don't respect the title.
Right.
I respect the person and the deed.
You made that clear earlier.
I try to make it clear.
You made it, and you know what? A lot of us need to do that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, speaking of Pastor Willie and Kathy Moulton, that's how I met you.
Mm-hmm. It is.
That's how I met you.
Absolutely.
Coming down, because of course, Willie Moulton, Pastor Moulton, he is one that we have connected with over and over again over the years, and he instructed me. He said, Pastor Kevin, people get it somewhat confused when we have that quote unquote title pastor in front of our name, as if we don't have needs or as if we don't go left instead of right, as
mm-hmm.
if we haven't sinned. And he said, let me tell you something. He said, whenever you're in need of something, don't hold your pride. Let it go and call me.
Right.
And a couple of times I called Pastor Moulton, and that the day I met you, I had called Pastor Moulton that morning and said, Pastor Moulton, man, we getting a little short, man, around here. And I don't call you unless I need you. And I said, food is looking tight, bills and got paid, and some of them still need to be taken care of. And, I could use a little assistance.
Mm-hmm.
He said, man, I'll meet you at the church at such and such time. We don't have much, but whatever we have, we're going to make sure we bless you and your family.
He didn't hesitate.
Yeah. Didn't even think twice.
That's what he does.
He was the same pastor that asked me one day, Kevin, did God call you to preach? I said, absolutely. He said, then do it. And stop wondering, guessing, or holding on to what other people think. He told me that point blank.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me, and he said, how long do you plan to stay in the shadows of someone else? He said, God gave you a ministry because I've been respecting your ministry for years. I said, wow. And I never looked at it that way. So when you think about organizations that provide resources,
mm-hmm.
you have an organization that provides resources as well as other things.
Yes.
Same rules apply for Christian Faith Fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
That's an organization that provides resources, hope,
right.
faith, even some physical things like food.
Mm-hmm.
That's an awesome concept. So when I look at what Switch Lanes has to offer, I honor your dedication and determinations to, number one, keep it real with yourself. You ain't trying to sugarcoat anything to make it convenient for someone else. And number two, I want to go ahead and make sure that you are able to share this information with people around the world. So I want to share where you're located. If you have a website, you know, that where people can go and garner information from. If you have a direct line or a business phone number that they can call, there's a lot of people out there right now that say, man, I could use, you know, what this young man has to offer, or what this organization has to offer. And I want to be able to reach out to them. Why don't you share that information with our listening audience right now?
Well, we're located, this national office, we're located at 2424 Washington Street. Let me make sure I got up in this microphone. Yeah. You know,
my wife ain't talking about you right now,
no,
so
she
you're all
might
right.
have touched me on my shoulder, man. I felt something.
You felt something?
2424 Washington Street in Waukegan, Illinois.
Okay.
Suite 103.
Okay.
Our website is switchlanes.info. Email address for myself is switchlanes.anthony@gmail.com.
Okay.
The phone number to the office, I never can memorize it, so I'll read. It is 847-672-9272.
Okay.
My direct number, I have no problem with giving it out, is 224-440-5616.
Okay.
And that's it. That's we're on Facebook. You can look us up on Facebook. We're on Instagram. And I got people trying to tell me about all of this social media stuff. I'm still getting used to it.
There's a lot of social media out there, man. That's all I can say.
It's a mess. These cell phones, they still be tripping me up.
Yeah.
You know, but I tell people all the time, I went to the joint, it was like brick phones, man. You know, that was what was happening.
I remember them.
Yeah, those are classics today.
My kids laugh at me when I even mention brick or flip phone.
Wow.
Yeah. They like, what?
They still got the flips out there, though.
They got some flips out there, but not like what we had back when.
They was kind of classically big. You know what I mean? The Motorola's with the antennas.
They was like a brick phone.
Yeah, they was different.
Absolutely. Man, I tell you what, I'm honored. I'm blessed. There's a lot of people that has responded online to us, and I just want to quickly send a shout out to Lucille Smith Harper, Sabrina Abrams, Terry Bennett, Lori Vanderveer, just to name a few, some people who is really taking time out to show their love, care, concern, and support to what it is that we're talking about and some of the things that you're doing. Now, I want to rewind the tape one more time real quick and talk about when you were mentioning entrepreneurship, because I think it's important for people to understand that if you can't don't wait until you're forced to end up in the streets. Create. Right. Entrepreneurship is just giving you an opportunity to utilize your vision and your dreams, you know, and it's important to understand that you have someone here that can assist you along the way. So it gives me a perfect segue to introduce Ant Mound Consulting.
Absolutely.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Ant Mound Consulting, it came about as a result of discrimination.
Okay.
You know, I came home from prison and nobody wanted to give me a job.
Right.
You know,
right.
I went down to, I guess I should probably say that again. I went down to Waukegan Township. And I met Johnny Jenkins.
Okay, Johnny.
Johnny, she's a beast. You know, I really care about Johnny. She really does care about the community and the people.
Right.
So Johnny, she had a few jobs available. But those jobs were not realistic. They wasn't going to take care of what I needed to have taken care of. So I declined.
Okay.
And the other places that I went to that were going to give me a job, once they found out that I had been incarcerated, it went off the table.
Wow. That was it.
You know, it's
that was
like,
it.
You know, we don't want you here, you know, without them saying that. Something as simple as, you know, life insurance. I couldn't even get life insurance when I came home because of that record, because they asked that question of, have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yep.
You answer the question honestly. And when you do, their computer system that they have has some sort of algorithm within it that says that if you've been convicted of certain kinds of crimes, in my case, it was first-degree murder, the chances have increased dramatically that you're going to die quicker.
Wow.
So therefore, we're not going to give you life insurance.
Wow.
So
amazing.
My name is Anthony. I've been called Ant for short for a very long time.
Okay.
I study things. I don't want you calling me anything if I don't understand it. So even though it's short for Anthony, there are such things as ants in the world.
Right.
So I studied them, and I came to realize that pound for pound, ants are the strongest things on the planet.
Okay.
Animal-wise. So they're insects, and the other thing about ants that makes them unique to me is that they're worthless by themselves. Ants must work as a unit.
Yeah.
If they don't work as a unit, they're ineffective.
Right.
So the concept behind Ant Mound Consulting came from the ant and the fact that I try my best to get people to work together.
Right.
As a unit.
Right.
As a team. Hence the concept ants, the personification of team. The other thing is, I've been giving away millions of dollars worth of information for free for a very long time.
Right.
When they told me about this, when I learned about this word consultant, it blew me.
Right.
I said, you trying to tell me I can just do the same thing I've been doing for free for all this time? I can actually get paid for doing it? So I happen to be someone I know business backwards and forwards, you know, for-profit, non-profit. I'm pretty swift in that area.
Okay.
So if I can show individuals how to take advantage of their visions, you know, because a lot of people have visions. Some people have money, no vision. Some people have money and vision, no connections.
Right.
Well, if I can sit those people down and show them how to go about getting their thoughts and processes together,
give them a step by step.
Yeah, let me show you how to do this, and for a fee.
Yeah, of course.
You know, because that's what they do in the world today. You're not supposed to go someplace and just get something for nothing.
Right.
You know, so
people need to realize that, and it doesn't matter what it is you're doing.
No,
it doesn't matter. And listen, just because it's classified as a nonprofit, or a faith-based, doesn't mean it's free or should be free.
Yeah.
So say that part again before you continue.
Yeah, it's definitely necessary that people understand. In this world, you know, free is taboo.
Yeah.
You know, you really should understand that I don't really want anything that even comes across as free.
Right.
When I hear something that says free to it, I feel there's a fish hook in there that I just can't see.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something to it.
Yeah, it's something to it. So I would rather have someone, you know, tell me that this is what you want for whatever you're going to give me. And let me decide now if I want to give it to you, if I can.
Right.
But I try to take individuals who, if they try to go through normal means of sitting down with consultants, they would have trouble because they would automatically be looked at in a certain way.
Right.
I don't discriminate.
Okay.
You know, if a person comes to me and they've been in prison, you honestly, I might open the door wider.
Awesome.
For you.
Right.
If a person comes to me and they've been, you know, abused in the past or whatever, I'm not going to tell you to get out.
Right. Right.
You know, wink, wink, nod, nod. I won't tell you to get out for that reason. I'm going to find some other reason to push you away.
Right.
I'm not going to do that.
Well, you're an open door policy to those that really seek.
Absolutely. Because it's hard out here.
Yeah.
And everybody needs help.
Right.
Even the tough ones that act like they don't need it.
Right.
You know you do, because
right.
It's like in prison when individuals will write you letters and they will tell you all of this good stuff that they tell you, and you're really not trying to hear it because even though you know it to be true, you don't want to hear it. You're in your situation.
Right.
But when you lay down at night in your bunk, all by yourself, you don't have a choice but to think about it.
Right.
So I know that individuals these days, they want to do things, they want to better themselves. They're just looking for somebody to give them a chance.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is to give Ant Mound, where Ant Mound is concerned, we try to give those individuals a chance, and we'll do so at discounted prices. We won't charge what somebody else will.
Right. Right.
But again, I have to survive as well.
Absolutely.
You know, I have to earn a living as well, and that's the way in which I do so.
Okay.
And not only that, I mean, Ant Mound also has Ant Mound Consulting.
Right.
So I'll take individuals when we have events, for example. That's a good segue. We have coming up on July 8th, we have the Gospel on the Beach.
Right.
It's our third event that my church puts together. Pastor Moten over there, and every year it gets bigger and bigger.
Right.
You know, and Ant Mound Security will provide security for that day.
Right.
And I happen to, you know, sometimes I'll grab individuals that most people will look at and say, well, we don't want this guy around. I'll grab those people and let me show you, teach you how to provide security.
Right. Right.
And again, every year it gets bigger and bigger. And these people that yesterday you probably would have looked at and frowned your nose at, you realize that they protected you today. They made sure that you were able to come and have a great and successful event and enjoy yourself with your family. So stop looking at people and thinking that you can judge that book by its cover.
Right. Like
a lot of these people just need an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not. Ant Mound is here to ensure individuals know if you want to do better, you can do better. Okay. Come sit down with me and let me show you how. And if it's not me, because again, I don't have all the answers. Right. But the lesson I learned through Switch Lanes is that what I don't have, I can make a phone call and learn.
Reach out and get.
And I'll get that from somebody else. And we'll make sure that before you leave here, you get what you need.
What about information? How do they contact you? How do they reach out to you if they want to consider, giving you this fee to utilize your services? How do they contact you?
There's the website there. I think you have it in front of yourself. Yeah.
AntMoundConsulting.com.
That's the website.
AntMoundConsulting.com. Phone number, same phone number?
Same phone number.
224-440-5616. 224-440-5616. And, of course, Mr. McIntyre 7 at gmail.com. Is that right?
7-11.
7-11. Okay, I was wondering if that was a part of it, so I'm glad you cleaned that up. That's Mr. McIntyre 711 at gmail.com. Of course.
And if I could say, there are, people really, this whole Willie Lynch syndrome, I like to talk about it, right? Willie Lynch syndrome, Willie Lynch, for those that don't know, he was a master slave master. He taught slave masters how to break their slaves to get the most out of them.
Okay.
So the Willie Lynch syndrome is still effective and it lives today. Okay. We as a people, African Americans, we don't like each other.
Right.
Whether we say it or not. Right. We don't like each other. We don't trust one another.
Right.
I'm trying to break that. Okay. But I think people need to become educated with Willie Lynch.
Right.
Now, how do I contribute? I feel like we need to partner with as many people as we can.
That's true.
There is an upcoming event in Chicago that is being put on by a nonprofit organization, the Big Homies Club.
Okay.
The Big Homies Club, its president is Mr. Eric Chapman. His vice president is Mr. Frank Smith.
Okay.
They are doing their best to gather entrepreneurs together and get those entrepreneurs to become mentors, to be examples to other individuals as to what you can do if you come together as a collective. And, every week they have these weekly sessions where they get young kids together and they actually just talk to them, mentor them.
Okay. Right.
And it's necessary these days because so many of us are locked away in prison.
Yeah.
That when you get a group like that's willing to just sit down sometimes, just talk to people and just tell them what it is that you're not hearing from anybody else but women.
Right.
Please, women out there, don't think that I'm talking down on you. You are wonderful.
Absolutely.
You having to burden the job of being both man and woman. So please don't take it that way.
Right.
But you can't do it forever.
Right.
You need help.
Okay.
And men have to do their job. So those who are incarcerated, they can't speak with the same voice. So when you have a group being brought together, like the Big Homies Club is bringing people together, it's a good thing. So I think those type of organizations need to come together. Chicago is like the laughing stock of the country, the world right now when it comes to gang crime and gang violence. But there are groups and there are people who really do genuinely care and they're trying their best.
Right.
Here in this area, we put a gang truce together a little while ago. And when we put that truce together, we did it in the worst area in North Chicago.
Okay.
Now, people say, well, North Chicago is not Chicago. I'm not trying to hear that.
Right.
Because as I say to people all the time, a bullet feels the same, whether it's coming out of a gun in Chicago and Inglewood or North Chicago on Hervey Avenue.
That's right.
That bullet feels the same. The pain is the same.
Right.
The mother who lost her child, her pain is no different here in North Chicago than it is in Midway, Georgia, Chicago, or California. It's the same.
Right.
So people need to stop with that. Again, these are the tactics of the Willie Lynch. It's the divide and keep them separated and they're different than you over there. You're better than them over here. We got to get away from that nonsense. So when we put that truce together, we had 5 of what society calls the worst street organizations in the country. We had the Latin Kings, the OAs, SDs, the Black P Stones, the Four Corner Hustlers, all of them agreed. You know what? All right, Aunt, we hear you. You saying that you gonna help us? You saying that we can do better? We gonna fall into it.
They challenge you on that.
They challenged me on it, and they said, "Listen, we're gonna do our part."
Right.
So there was a 4-block radius that's the worst in the county, between 10th and 14th Street,
right,
and Jackson and Sheridan Road.
Right.
Horrible.
Right.
Crime went from way up here to zero.
Wow.
Right, because those guys agreed to stop, to put down their guns. They went a step further. They didn't just put down their guns; they gave them to me.
Wow. Well, do you know what? Do you think, and I know we're getting short on time, I want to make sure that we be able to re-air and then also air this on Comcast Cable tomorrow. But do you think that people are, I guess you can say, responding to your call because you've been there, you've experienced some things, you've been in some unjust situations and some, see, like this, when I was going to drug rehabilitation meetings and so on and going to groups, I was able to respond more to someone who experienced what I've been through versus someone who just came in with a suit and tie and really had no experience with what I've been through. You have experience in a lot of areas that you're addressing. Do you believe in your heart that a lot of people respond to you that are in that situations or in those situations? They're responding to you because of what you've been through?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, it's no doubt about it that if I believe that you've experienced what I've been through,
yes,
or that I'm currently going through,
yes,
I'll appreciate more what you're saying.
Awesome.
I know you didn't get it off a chalkboard in classroom down in whatever college you went to.
Right.
You know, you can't speak to my pain.
Right.
You know, if you didn't feel it.
Right.
You know, and again, a lot of times people focus more on messenger than message.
Yeah.
You know, I can say something and then my pastor can say something to this very person right here.
Same
the words
message.
are the same.
Words are the same.
They're going to hear it different coming from one of us.
Yep.
You know, so it's definitely, now at the same time, it's a double-edged sword because I have a number of people who, they're suspicious of me.
Okay.
They're suspicious of my words because they fell into the trap of the wedge, you know, and a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot, but there are some people who sit back and they question, can you really be an individual who has changed your life from that to this?
Right.
Are you able to really do that?
And I believe that's why I can relate to you.
Right.
To you know, to let the truth be told.
Yes.
I believe that's why I relate to you because I tell people I went from the penitentiary to the pulpit.
That's right.
And it's like, I don't know about that.
My pastor the other day, he was talking about Paul.
Okay.
For those that don't know Paul from the Bible.
Right.
Paul killed more people. Now, I want to compare him to Hitler.
When people look at the disciples, every last one of them had issues.
All of them.
Every last one of them had issues. I mean, you got murderers, liars, fornicators, cheaters, thieves, the whole 9 yards.
This is true.
See, people need to, like you said, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't look at you and say, well, you know what? Read the pages of your life.
They should, and that requires taking time to actually sit down and communicate.
Right.
You know, and what we do is we take snapshots of people's lives, and we use that as an example of everything that you see.
Right.
And it's not cool. And at the same time, when it's done to you,
now you want people to give you a chance.
Yeah.
You want people to open up and look further into it.
Yeah. Come on, man. You shouldn't just look at what you saw and just judge by that.
Right.
You turn around and do the same thing.
You know,
I know you're short on time, but
I'm looking at some of the responses and I'm just amazed at the way people have responded to this information. We have been sitting here holding a conversation with my friend, my partner, and I tell you, he is growing on me tremendously. Anthony McIntyre, he is the president over at Switch Lanes. We encourage you to reach out to him. 224-440-5616. He is also the founder and CEO of Ant Mound Consulting. Listen, give us an opportunity to share great information and or resources with each and every one of you.